John had always been a shy and reserved person. He was never the one to stand out in a crowd, and he preferred it that way. He had always been content with his quiet life, until one day, he woke up and realized that he had become invisible. At first, John was terrified. He couldn't believe what was happening to him. He tried to convince himself that it was just a dream, but as he looked in the mirror, he realized that he was really invisible. He could see his clothes and his surroundings, but he couldn't see himself. John was initially afraid to leave his apartment, but he soon realized that he had no choice. He needed to find out what was happening to him and how he could fix it. He put on his clothes, which were now floating in midair, and headed out into the world. As he walked down the street, people were bumping into him, but they didn't seem to notice him at all. He was invisible to everyone. He walked through the city, taking in the sights and sounds, but feeling completely alone and invisible. He soon realized that he could use his newfound invisibility to his advantage. He could walk into places without being noticed and overhear conversations without anyone knowing he was there. He started to use his power to help people in need, like stopping a thief from stealing a purse or helping someone who had fallen and couldn't get up. But John soon realized that with great power came great responsibility. He had to be careful not to abuse his power or use it for personal gain. He knew that if he did, he would lose the one thing that made him special. One day, while walking through the city, John stumbled upon a group of criminals planning a bank robbery. They were discussing their plans in a dark alley, unaware of John's presence. John knew that he had to do something to stop them. He went to the police and told them what he had heard. At first, they didn't believe him, but John was persistent. He told them where the criminals were planning to strike and what their plan was. The police decided to investigate and found that John was telling the truth. On the day of the robbery, the police were waiting for the criminals. They caught them red-handed and arrested them. The city praised John for his bravery and for helping to stop the robbery. John felt proud of himself for helping to make a difference in the world, but he also felt conflicted. He knew that he had to be careful not to let his power go to his head. He didn't want to become a vigilante or do anything that would put himself or others in danger. As time went on, John continued to use his invisibility to help others. He became known as the invisible hero and people started to look up to him. He was always careful not to let his power corrupt him, and he only used it for good. But one day, John woke up and realized that he was visible again. He could see himself in the mirror, and he knew that his time as the invisible hero had come to an end. He felt sad that he would no longer be able to help people without being noticed, but he knew that he had made a difference in the world. He went back to his quiet life and continued to help people in his own way. He knew that he didn't need to be invisible to make a difference in the world. He had learned that sometimes the greatest power comes from within, and that anyone can be a hero if they choose to be. In the end, John's experience as the invisible hero had taught him a valuable lesson. He had learned that sometimes the greatest gift we can give to others is our kindness and compassion. He had also learned that we all have the power to make a difference in the world, no matter how small our actions may seem. John continued to live his life, helping people in his own way and being a good person. He may not have been invisible anymore, but he knew that he would always be the invisible hero in his heart. Years later, when John was an old man, he was walking down the same street where he had first discovered his invisibility. He saw a young man walking towards him, looking lost and afraid. The young man stopped in front of John and said, "Excuse me, sir. Can you help me find my way?" John smiled and took the young man by the arm. He led him to where he needed to go, and as they walked, he told the young man about his own experience as the invisible hero. The young man listened intently, and when they reached their destination, he thanked John for his kindness. As John walked away, he realized that he had just helped someone in need, just like he had done all those years ago. He felt proud of himself for making a difference in someone's life, and he knew that he would always be a hero, whether he was invisible or not.